going on, guys? Welcome back to Game Time Discussions. I'm Emery Cuzzy. I'm sitting here with Dustin Zimmerman, and today we are going to go over week 2 of the college football slate. Lots of stuff happened this week, but there was also a good amount of people that were on bye, which was really weird. So early in the year, like it's week 2. Like you should probably be playing.
It was weird watching it last week. I was like looking for teams and was like, okay, a lot of them not playing today.
No Ohio State. Next week's even weird too. Like there's not going to be a certain amount of teams. Like Penn State didn't play this week. USC,
right?
Louisville, Iowa State, Clemson. All these teams in the top 25 didn't play this week. So
early recruiting weeks, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really weird, but it has to do with the fact that there's 19 teams in every conference right now, and until they get that figured out, when they have that bye, they go into the next week like having to play actual teams from their conference.
Yeah.
So it's like we need to get back to kind of like the 12 team. We haven't had a Big 12 since A&M left, I don't think. I don't think it's been 12 teams since A&M left.
Well, when we in Missouri left.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like it doesn't make any sense. So
the Big Ten's been in the teens for years now.
Exactly. But yeah, let me screen share, get it going. I'm gonna do. But yeah, it was an interesting week. We're gonna talk about the top 25, and to start it off, I mean, we get to go straight to number 1. Texas gets to go to 1, and it makes a lot of sense. I mean,
they deserved it.
Yeah, Kentucky. Yeah. Well, I think it more so than anything, it was Georgia sucked against a team that they probably should have beat by 50.
Yeah,
and then Texas has basically handled their business on every team so far, so they moved up to 1. Yeah, I guess it is what it is. Like Texas is very good. They're very good.
Arch looked great.
So did
he looked like a freshman, but he looked great.
He still had some mental issues in Mitchell errors, but when you can take off and run 20.7 miles per hour,
I saw that.
That was crazy.
I saw something that was faster than Tyreek last season or something.
Yeah, and we live in Texas, and we have friends that go both ways on if they think that Arch should be playing right now or if it should be Quinn. I'm on the Quinn side. I think Quinn has actually done really well this year. I hate to see injuries for people that have gone through this type of thing and have been such criticized, and finally they're like, yeah, he's playing good, and then boom.
Yeah.
But if Texas does lose Quinn, I think they are going to have a much harder time against Oklahoma and Georgia in a couple weeks.
I was talking with a friend about that today, actually, because of what the timeline is. He's basically week to week, hoping to have him back in 3 to 4.
Right.
Abdominal injuries are weird because you can't rest it.
Yeah.
Like a knee, okay, get on crutches, but you use your abdomen for everyday life. When you roll out of bed, you use your abdomen to sit up. So there's a lot of ways you can aggravate those injuries.
Yeah, and Dustin is a PA, so he is allowed to give us any medical advice we need on this show. So
not official medical advice.
Disclaimer. So yeah, going down the list, I mean, everybody won in the top 10. It wasn't necessarily anything weird except for, of course, the Georgia. Actually, did everybody win in the top 25? They did. Everybody in the top 25 won. You shouldn't. It wasn't necessarily any games that were big except for, of course, Missouri beat Boston College. That is the one game in the top 25 that was the loss. But
they were also double-digit favorites.
So. Right. Oh, I guess this is the updated. Oh, okay.
So this is the new one. I was looking in the others receiving votes. I don't remember anybody.
Arizona lost to Kansas State. We'll talk about them in a minute. But yeah, I think that the top 25 kind of looks exactly how I'd expect it to, because we haven't gotten into any games that really matter yet.
Nothing to shift the voters.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, let's get into the first game. We're going to do basically what we're going to do is we're going to do game recaps to start everything off. We're going to have 6 games that we recap. We both kind of talk about which games we think need to be talked about, and then we're going to go into some other stuff. But first off, we're going to do Arizona State versus Texas State. And the reason we're doing this one is because, of course, we made a big deal about how Texas State had a chance to make it into the playoffs. Obviously, losing this game really dampens that. It's not impossible, but they would have to win out and basically have some help from Arizona State and other teams that are at the top of their conferences and other conferences. But we made a short and a reel of this, and it got 150,000 views on TikTok. So we really appreciate y'all for watching that.
Thank y'all very much, and all the comments too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Positive or negative.
Yeah, we love
the comments.
We love publicity. No, but this game was actually really good. Like out of everything, like not.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some situations that I wish would have gone better. Obviously for Texas
Sure.
State, the turnover at the end of the game basically sealed it. And if that doesn't happen, I don't know what happens. I mean, it's 28-28, but
arguably from their best player too. Just
yeah,
a
exactly.
really tough moment.
Last year's he was a All-American last year, and
he led all-purpose yards last year, right, for the whole country.
2,168 or something crazy.
Yeah, they mentioned it on the broadcast.
Yeah, and so it was super tough to see that, but you could tell that, and the reason I was so excited about them is because this is the best Texas State team ever. Not just like, and I'm not saying that and blowing it out. Like when we moved up from D1 AA or Division II,
FCS now to FBS
back in the day,
right?
Since then, they have not had a serious chance. They have not had a winning schedule. They went 7-5 last year, won a bowl game. That was huge.
Yeah,
this was the biggest game in their young school history as a D1 program,
especially in their modern history. When you think about anything after 2000,
yeah, exactly. And so that's why this was such a big deal. Of course, hey, they lost, but it's not over, and they could still win the Sun Belt. Okay, first off, Arizona State's really good. But then Texas State could still win the Sun Belt. That would be really cool. I think
they will.
Ton of credit. Oh, I hope so.
I don't see a way they don't. I think they will win the Sun Belt.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
11-1 or something.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. Scatabo is a really good football player, and we held him to less than 3 yards a carry, and he had like 200 and something crazy yards the week before.
Yep.
I actually was really proud of our team. Looked really good. And some mistakes here and there could have fixed everything.
Of course.
That Arizona State team really loves hitting. Their defense looked awesome.
Yes,
that was really fun to watch. So yeah, I feel for Texas State, but it was a great game. So
I mean, in my opinion, nothing but optimism for their team or fans, though. A lot of people, even with a close spread on it, expected this to still be a 20-point game.
Yeah.
I mean, as recent as 2 to 3 years ago, if they were on our A&M schedule, I was like, oh, sweet.
Free game. Yeah, free game.
Easy 40-point win.
We went 2-10. When I was in college, we were 2-10 team.
Yeah.
3-9 team. So just to even win 2 games, the first 2 games is awesome.
What GJ Kinney has done there is outstanding.
I don't expect him to be there next year. I expect most of his staff. I mean, we're going to lose our best 3 on offense and most of our O-line.
Yeah.
Defensively, our best edge rusher will be gone, Ben Bell. I don't think he'll be back, and that's okay. I mean, he did his work at this point to make this team pretty cool.
I mean, he earned it.
Oh yeah,
with this turnaround.
Oh yeah, he's a great recruiter, to say the least, too, in the transfer portal. But so that's our first game. The next game is going to be, this game that we kind of talked about earlier. I don't really understand what happened here. Here, I'll go to the box score on this.
My thoughts on this one was it turned into a trap game after Kentucky got smacked by South Carolina the week before.
And everybody puts Georgia like as the biggest game of the year.
Yeah.
Every time they play them, and you could tell that that's kind of what happened here. There's some players on Kentucky's team that were Georgia players last year, including the star linebacker, Jamon Dumas. So that, it just kind of makes you excited to play these games. And I think Georgia probably thought this was a cakewalk, and it was not, obviously.
Exactly. When you see the team lose by 25 to South Carolina, who's not one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the SEC, and you're Georgia, these kinds of things happen.
Yeah. And we'll talk about South Carolina in a minute. They're pretty good, though. And then, of course, like Carson Beck, like he is supposed to be possibly the number 1 quarterback in this class, possibly a top 10 pick. He has to more than 13 points against a truly Kentucky in the last 2 weeks. They put up like 80 something for 2 games.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, 13 points out of, what's supposed to be a top 10 pick. Trevor Etienne is the best running back there. I don't think he's as good as we're going to act like he is. We'll talk about that when we get to prospect stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think he really is as good as like his brother or.
I was about to say, it's hard when you come right after Etienne Jr., who is still early in the league. So
Travis is a very good player, but that's okay. I mean, he's still putting up good numbers. This is just not a game where he did that. He could not get away.
And he is still getting used to a new team. He did transfer from Florida.
Florida, yeah.
So,
and then Arian Smith just kind of not there.
No,
just not.
But no one was. It's hard to take away from a game like this.
They have so many good players. Like I did a breakdown for our 2025 prospects. Like Oscar Delp, great player. Trevor Etienne is going to get drafted
Absolutely.
Benjamin Urasek, who's not even on here, he's the other tight end that's really good. All their linemen are legit. They, I don't know. It's surprising that this game was so close, in my opinion. Especially, against a team that just got whooped up on prior week. So, but yeah, so let's get to the next one. This game was close, and I did not expect it to be, actually. I told you last week that I was not in on Missouri.
Yes.
And now I'm even more confident in the fact that I should not be in on Missouri.
Really?
Yes.
We're lowering Missouri, not raising our view on Boston College?
No.
Really?
No, I don't think that that's where I would go with it. No, I think that
they had a huge week 1 win against powerhouse Florida State.
It was now 0-3, and I'm a Florida State fan, and so I mean it's tough out here.
Yeah.
But yeah, 0-3 Florida State. Let's see. Actually, I think here I can do it this way. Let's go to the Boston College team and look at their schedule. So play Florida State, beat them by 2 touchdowns. Play, I don't even know how do you say that?
Duquesne.
Okay, I would have got that so wrong. 56-0, and then lose to Missouri in a close game. I think that they're probably the 4th best team in the ACC, and the ACC sucks.
4th best in the ACC.
Yeah.
Clemson, NC State.
Clemson. I would say I think Louisville's good.
Oh, we're hyping up Louisville.
I think Louisville's good.
Okay.
But we're going to talk about them in a minute also. So, I just think the ACC is bad. And I don't think that just because Boston College played, certain teams good makes them good.
Right.
We keep talking about this guy. He's been good through his first 2 weeks. But at the same time, I watched him play this week and I was like, he cannot make decisions.
Yeah.
There's no decision making going on. He's just a really good athlete playing quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And that does not bode well, in my personal opinion, of how well he's going to be at the next level, or at the playing at another level against good teams is what I mean. Like Missouri, Missouri should have probably had more than 1 sack, which I only think they had 1 sack in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought they should have played a lot better than they did. And you can't tell me that this guy is the reason that they were so close. You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
They should have probably had him figured out 14 points max, in my opinion, based on what I watched.
I think my biggest issue with Missouri is their lack of scoring.
Yeah.
They have all of their talent.
So many good players.
And Luther Burden finally made an appearance.
Well, and I did do some stat digging on Luther Burden. He played 25%, or he was 4th on the depth chart in snaps. He was 4th on the depth chart in wide receiver snaps because they were winning by so much in prior weeks.
Didn't need to worry about it.
But still, like you said, they needed to score more. Theo Weiss, Luther Burden, Mookie Cooper, all really good players. Like I just expected, probably 35, 42 points out of them.
Exactly.
Now, Nate Noel played really well. He didn't get in, but Brady Cook got in on 1. If you look at these stats, they're a little bit messed up because when quarterbacks get sacked, they get put onto their
rushing
stats.
Yeah.
So that messes things up. Brady Cook goes for 264. They didn't look bad. Like stat wise, you look at the stats, but like they were so much more talented, in my personal opinion, and they only won by 6. And I just have a really hard time putting money behind them basically right now.
A lot of people in the SEC world had them as a dark horse to win the conference.
I think that should be Ole Miss.
I don't know if they're a dark horse, in my opinion.
They were to start the year. Ole Miss was a dark horse to start the year, in my personal opinion.
Really? I thought last year, bringing back Jackson Dart, all the transfers they got, including the top defensive player from A&M, Walter Nolan, I kind of thought they had all the pieces. I think anything more than 1 to 2 losses, Kiffin's going to be in trouble for.
Okay, so you think for me personally, like they have, if you counted the teams in the ACC and the SEC
Mm-hmm.
that would be above Ole Miss at the beginning of the year, you would have said Alabama, Georgia, Texas, right off the rip, and then you
Yeah.
could have made a case for Missouri. That's still a dark horse when you're not even the top 3, 4 teams.
I had Ole Miss above Missouri,
Good.
personally.
I'm proud
So.
of you. But yeah, so I thought this game was much too close. 6 points to a team that I just didn't think looked good. So that's just my personal opinion on that one.
Yep.
This is for you, all you. You got the cup. We can talk about this. We're going to talk about a young quarterback.
I mean, the big thing that we take away from this is there are now potentially, don't know with Texas because of injury issues, but another QB battle because Marcel Reed looked fantastic. His stat line doesn't look awesome, 11 for 17. He also only threw 2 passes the entire second half.
Right.
We ran the ball mainly because it was heavy rain and that
And you
skewed
were
it quite a
winning pretty
yeah,
handedly.
at one point we were up 33-7. At that point, it was just run the ball out. So, but also his legs. Right now, the big clip going around is him juking
That was awesome.
the ankles off of the Florida linebacker.
Yes.
And Joe Tessitore making some questionable noises on the broadcast.
Yes, I did see that. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, he looked fantastic. I mean, he missed some reads, of course, but also this was his first start, I believe, ever. The last time he played was the bowl game last year, and that's because Jalen Henderson broke his arm. That's why that was the only meaningful time he got all last year.
Right.
So I'm a big fan of him. He also came in because of an injury to Wigman, so similar to Texas. But I know there's a lot of chatter on who are we starting against Bowling Green this week, and then from there on.
I think you should start Reed this week.
I think we're going to have to because of injury.
Yeah, and you don't want to get re-injured because you want a quarterback battle that's like actually, 2 healthy guys.
It's also an AC sprain on his throwing shoulder.
Exactly.
That doesn't exactly heal in a week.
Yeah.
So,
on the other side, I wanted to talk about the other quarterback battle.
Yes.
Between the lower half of the SEC over here. You got DJ Lagway, who played amazing last week. We actually shouted him out as part of our prospect spotlight stuff. Graham Mertz came in and actually played really well this week to start, but he just couldn't score.
No.
So that always is a problem.
Yeah.
45.3 QBR. So these stats mean absolutely nothing when your QBR is less than 50.
Yeah.
I don't care how good your 80% completion, does not matter when your QBR sucks.
Correct.
And it kind of tells the story more than the rest of the stats, in my personal opinion.
No, absolutely.
That's why Lagway's in. Yep. He didn't play well, but he went in.
To say, I don't know how much you saw of it, but in watching, I almost was happy when Mertz came in because whenever Lagway was in, the decision making was not good at all. Just did not look comfortable. Everything was not great accuracy.
Right. Still a true freshman.
I mean, I'm still high on the guy. Don't get me wrong. Everyone's going to have bad games. But I'm interested to see what they do the rest of the year too, because Billy Napier is now his hot seat just became scalding on fire, basically.
I didn't expect them to win more than 4 games.
Their schedule is also incredibly difficult.
The most incredible, hardest schedule I've probably ever seen.
Yes.
So that doesn't help either.
Yeah, no.
Some other guys to look at, Cyrus Allen stepped up. Moose Muhammad still doesn't get in the game. I don't know what his thing is. I don't get what's going on with him because he should probably be the best receiver on this team, and he just doesn't go in and doesn't produce.
Yeah, he had limited snaps week 1, did better week 2, but I'm not sure if it's also getting used to this new offense as we got Colin Klein, and as you can see, we're spreading the ball around.
Right.
The big Swede caught his first touchdown pass, which was fun.
Yeah.
Theo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I expected more from Moose this year.
Yeah, I just think with Evan Stewart gone, he was probably the guy who was like, okay, the best receiver in that room is him, and he's just not really there.
Yeah.
The next game was a good call by Dustin picking UCF to win this game, money line. Or was, I guess, spread, but it was like 1.5 or something, really close. So basically a money line pick. And he probably would have picked the money line anyways if he got the chance.
Correct.
And this game went down to the wire.
I was definitely never worried. Nope. Definitely didn't get worried at all.
You're going to see the play-by-play. I'll tell you, like, this is really nerve-wracking when TCU goes up 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. Yeah. Okay, then let's play, guys. Let's play. And then you just start to slowly creep on back, and that's a weird score. That shouldn't be there. Slowly creep on back, and then, get into the game. 28-28, 35.
Yep.
And just didn't let them do it in the second half.
Nope. UCF's run game finally took over, which I was expecting. I wasn't expecting them to decide to just set the first half out, but
sometimes it's okay. Yep. We'll have to talk about both sides of the ball, of course, because Josh Hoover threw for 52 attempts for over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns with no interceptions. That's pretty good.
QBR, like you said, 90.8.
Mm-hmm.
He played spectacularly.
Yep, and still lost because their defense couldn't hold up at the end of the game. Nope. This was more of a grind-out game for UCF, obviously. RJ Harvey's very good at football.
Yes, he is.
And then, of course, you had KJ Jefferson, who is as big as he is, playing quarterback is just difficult to stop. We'll talk about another quarterback on the next game that's very difficult to stop. But RJ Harvey and him are a heck of a duo.
Yes.
And RJ Harvey actually has the 3rd most rushing yards in the nation right now overall. So those two guys make it very difficult to stop UCF, and that's why they're 3-0. And they have a chance to do some big things. They're not going to probably win out or anything like that. That's not really in their cards.
No.
But they have a chance to be part of, the top 25 pretty soon if they keep going. So
no, they look really good this year.
Yep. 9 for 200. Yeah. Goodness, Jack.
The old talk of the Big 12 lacking in defense has
come back.
Come back.
Full circle.
We're fully back.
And then the last game, how about the SEC not having any defense?
I was about to say SEC, all they do is play defense allegedly, and then you get this score.
Well, I'll tell you what, Lenora Sellers is so much fun to watch. So cool to watch.
A very fun guy to watch play football.
I actually had his over on his rushing yards, and it was 26.5.
Yeah.
I did not understand it one bit.
No.
He had 88. 75-yard long, which was really cool. And they lost because Garrett Nussmeier is really good at football too.
And to be fair, Sellers got injured at the end of the first half.
Right.
So Robbie Ashford, good, came from Auburn, transfer from Auburn. He's a good quarterback, but Sellers, I think if he doesn't get injured, I don't think this is the score or the winner we see.
I agree. I think South Carolina is actually really good at football. And
I think if Lenora Sellers is healthy, moving forward, they are really good at football.
Right.
I think it's questionable just because I don't know a whole lot with Ashford, just where that offense is going to be.
Right. Raheem Sanders is actually a guy that we're going to talk about for our prospects when we get to the draft and stuff. Also, there's so many good running backs in this class. And
so has one of the cooler nicknames.
I don't know.
Rocket Sanders.
Rocket. That's a cool name. Okay, cool. Yeah. Garrett Nussmeier, we're going to talk about him in a minute. He's just a very good football player. He can stand there and throw the ball and mess up and be wrong, and then the next play say, I'm just going to sling it again. And that is always cool to have as a quarterback, where you just have a one-track mind. You forget about the play before, and he can do that.
He's also incredibly tough. Guy was taking hits and still landing throws right on the money.
Yep. There was a deep crosser or something that he hit, and I was like, oh, man. All right, that was nice. Kyron Lacey's one of my favorite receivers in this class. He's not obviously as talented as some of the other ones, but he's just a fun guy to watch. So
he's really good.
I'm excited to watch him some more. But yeah, this game was fun. Like you said, let me go look at that. Only 2 sacks out of South Carolina, but I know they hit the quarterback 10 times.
Exactly.
So I'm trying to find that. Yeah, but they were all over him in the backfield. So,
which also shows his poise in the pocket.
That rookie's pretty good. I mean, that freshman is pretty good.
There you go.
Stewart. He was, I'll be honest, Will Campbell is the number 1 tackle in this class. I am not sold on him right now. Really? I wasn't sold on him last year because when he went against Jared Verse and Dallas Turner, he did not necessarily hold his own at times. Well, how about a freshman, 18 years old, going out there and kicking his ass?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, okay, all right, youngin. It's what's his first name? Stewart. It's his last name, Stewart. He's he's good. Hey, let's go see. I got it. Why am I here? Oh, that's not the right one. Defense. Oh, where you at, buddy? You're good. He's so good. He's that young kid. Oh, I know you're here. I saw you get after it. What's his name? That's not his name. Go look it up. I
I
need
got
to
you.
know. I need to know because I can't remember off the top of my head. His name is definitely Stewart. His last name is definitely Stewart.
Dylan Stewart.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, he's that. Yeah, he's the freshman edge.
Yeah,
Who's
he's so good.
if you type him in, his prior 2 games, he has a lot of highlights going pretty
Yes.
viral right
Yeah.
now. So yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, he makes me excited about upcoming years of defense.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do next is the spotlight, prospect spotlight. For our prospect spotlight, Dustin is going to do his first. Here's his first guy right here. So we'll let you go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I mean, we just mentioned him. You just saw the stats he had last week, or this past week. But Garrett Nussmeier, like we said, I mean, we've already kind of hammered it in, but the guy can play football. He is really good. He stands in the pocket. His QBR so far against USC week 1 was 89.5, against Nichols, which, do what you will with those stats, but still 82.4. And then, of course, his QBR this past week was 76. He's only taken 2 sacks. So his pocket presence, his poise, he hits guys on the money a lot. Completion percentage was 77, 73, and then 60 this last week. Again, first game of conference play makes it a little bit tougher. I'm really excited to see where he goes, though. I think he's one of the better pocket passers in the country.
Yeah, Garrett was one of the guys that we talked about on our 2025 early prospect stuff, and I'm very excited about him.
Yeah.
No one really knew who he was because he was behind Jaden Daniels last year.
Right.
Came in for one game and threw for over 350 or something crazy.
Yeah.
He's super exciting. He has almost 900 yards, 10-2. We are doing the prospect spotlight based on guys for the first 3 weeks because truly, if you do every single week, like week 1 and week 2, like they're mostly playing teams that don't make any sense to talk about,
Right.
My guy that I'm going to talk about actually didn't play anybody special this week. Wasn't like Garrett Nussmeier, but it is Cam Ward. He has looked amazing. And he is the number 1 in Heisman betting right now at plus 500.
He is.
And I mean, he just killing it. A Texas guy, which is always fun too.
Yeah.
I love shouting at some Texas guys. His numbers are going to look even more inflated than Garrett Nussmeier's.
Oh, yeah.
And it's because of the fact that he's obviously not playing these crazy teams. He beats Florida by an insane amount. We just saw what we talked about with A&M, Florida A&M, and then Ball State. But 94.4 QBR, insane. And then you got to look over here. He did get sacked twice. We talked, like you talked about earlier, but look at this: 73% completion percentage with 1,035 yards, 11 touchdowns, 1 interception. He is really trying to push his prospect profile so that he can be a day 1, day 2 guy.
Yep.
And before this, if he would have come out last year, he was a 5th rounder. Mm-hmm. So he is just trying to climb the ladder as much as he can. Something similar to what Jaden Daniels did last year. Went from Arizona State to LSU.
Yep.
Went from the 5th round to the 1st round, number 2 overall pick.
Won the Heisman.
I don't think that Cam Ward can get that high, but he is very much in the conversation to be a top 2-3 quarterback because of the fact that there isn't a bona fide number 1 in this class. Mm-hmm. There's no Drake May or Caleb Williams in this class.
No, there's not.
And so that allows Cam Ward to make his case to be possibly a Raiders quarterback in the draft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we're going to have to get one. There's a lot there's a few teams that have to get some in the top 15 probably. And he's pushing to try to get to that point. Yeah. I think he's done a really good job of that. Obviously, by these numbers, he's going to have to play some real teams in the close future, but they're still ACC teams. And we just talked about how I feel about the ACC.
Yeah.
Not as exactly the teams you really can't explode against and like do like the 250, 300 yard games, multiple touchdowns. So he's got a really high ceiling right now. And
I'm interested to see who can stop him. Because I'm not sure there's a team that can on their schedule.
On the schedule? Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I think you're probably right.
I mean, I don't have any ACC team as a defensive powerhouse.
The best is Clemson, I guess, and they got put 34 up by Georgia.
Week 1.
Who
just put up, 13 against Kentucky.
Yeah, exactly. So those are our prospect spotlights. Then we're going to go to some games that we're excited about this week. I'm going to let Dustin take this one because this was his game. of the week?
Yeah, Tennessee, Oklahoma is going to be a lot of fun, and mainly because Tennessee is a lot of fun to watch.
They're so good.
It's rare that I think a game where the favorite is a 7.5 point favorite and say, yep, that's my game of the week. But it is inflated because Nico is really fun. The defense
Dude,
is
it's
really
awesome.
fun.
Yes.
And then on the other side, Jackson Arnold is a good quarterback. Oklahoma is going to air it out too,
Yeah.
along with them. And I think this game's going to be a shootout more than anything.
57.5 is the over under for the, I think that this game has to go over. I don't know a way that it doesn't. And
Yeah.
funny enough, I think that Tennessee at -7.5 is probably an easy bet, which is crazy to say when it's two teams that are, both 3-0,
Yeah.
both good.
I'm not comfortable going easy bet or lock by any means,
I might,
but if I was, I would take Tennessee -7.5.
Right.
Sure.
If you had to take one.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And, but I'm going to say it's an easy bet on my side. Don't listen to me.
All right.
I'm not the college football. I won't do the spread picks. Dustin will. But man.
Now this may come back up. I'm going to watch this line. If it gets any closer, such as if it goes to -6.5, then yeah, I would
hammer
for
it.
sure.
Absolutely. Watching this Oklahoma team in the last few weeks, like they beat Temple, of course, really handily. Sure. Houston is 0-3.
Yeah.
They almost lost to them. And then Tulane is very good. They would have been I wish we would have done this last week, but our super dog, that would have been my super dog. They're at +15.5.
Yep.
Well, there you go. They hit that for sure.
Yeah.
They should have been closer. Even if you watch the game, they were closer. I just think that there's a lot of things going on in Oklahoma, mostly not having a running game that is really hurting them.
Yeah.
They have some good players, though. If you look at Deion Burks and Nick Anderson, both of those guys are really solid receivers. On defense, Danny Stutzman, he's got such a weird name to talk. It should be Strutzman or something else, but Danny Stutzman,
he's fun to watch.
He's good, man.
Yeah,
and Billy
really good.
Billy Bowman behind him, Bowman.
Yeah,
behind him, he's good too. So it's going to be a fun game. Lots of names. But I just think Tennessee is going to win by 17 points.
I think so. But I also think it's going to set the tone for Oklahoma's season moving forward, too.
Yeah, because they have to play Texas, and that's coming up 2 weeks. Red River Rivalry 2 weeks?
Remember the date.
Soon, very soon. Yeah, I just think this game is really good.
October 12th. So.
Okay, a few weeks.
Okay.
That would have been my game of the week if I would have got the opportunity to pick it. Dustin got to pick it, so I had to pick a different one. But I'm very intrigued by this USC team. Miller Moss, Woody Marks, they're really good players, but it's just they are winning in ways like they beat Louisville. I'm sorry, they beat LSU, not Louisville.
Yeah.
They beat LSU week 1, and that game was really good. And I actually thought LSU was going to win, and I was very surprised by how good the defense for USC looked.
Holding them to 20 was really impressive.
That was impressive. They were tackling. They were all over the place. Mm-hmm. And, my big thing is USC last year made Caleb Williams throw the ball and have to fight for every game because they were putting 35 points up against them. This year, Miller Moss has an opportunity to just only need to score 24 and win games, big games, in Pac-12 games. Or, sorry, not Pac-12, Big Ten games.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're playing Michigan, who loses to Texas and then has a close game against Arkansas State. Does Michigan, this was my other reason I picked this game. Does Michigan lose 2 games at home in the first 4 weeks?
I would have said yes prior to, I think, about 6 hours ago, but they did name the backup the new starting quarterback.
I know, yeah. I did hear that.
He's fast and really athletic. I don't know if he can throw because against Texas, they basically didn't let him throw. They gave him the ball and said, run as fast as you can.
Right.
And in that game, it really didn't matter.
Yeah.
So this one almost feels similar to a trap game also because of Michigan having a new quarterback now. I don't know how the team dynamic's going to be around that, but it could be a lot of fun.
I am not picking either team in the spread.
I would not touch this game.
5.5? No way.
30-foot pole. Still too close.
Yeah, but it's fun to think about because this game could be a blowout on either side, in my opinion, or it could be very close.
Yeah.
And so it just, I think USC wins. I think that because of their defense playing well, but Michigan actually has what I would expect to have been at the beginning of the year the best defense in college football,
They were supposed to be.
top to bottom.
Yeah.
They have really good football players.
Yeah.
And they're just not stopping anybody. 29-point average between 3 games, and they're playing 2 teams in Fresno. Oh, sorry. I'm incorrect.
No, you're at
wrong side. But yeah, no, looking at this, obviously, allowing 18 points and 10 points even is too much, in my personal opinion, for the team that they have. They have literally the number 1 defensive tackle and probably a top 5 defensive tackle on the other side.
Yes.
The number 1 corner, who reminds me of Sauce Gardner, like he's him.
Yeah.
I just don't think that the game should be this close. Both of their safeties or both of the Michigan safeties are really good. Like, these games shouldn't be close.
Yeah. I wasn't going to overreact to Fresno State. It's week 1. You just never know what's going to happen week 1. But I am reacting, I think,
Arkansas State
to Arkansas State.
Okay, I'm glad you're with me.
That one, I was very disappointed in Michigan's performance on both sides.
Yeah,
to be clear.
I don't know. We're going to see what happens with the quarterback situation. Obviously, 6 interceptions at 2 touchdowns.
I was about to say, when that's tough. Your ratio, it can't get much worse.
Yeah, we'll see. They still play in the Big Ten, and they still have a backup quarterback that couldn't win the job.
Yes, but he did that against Arkansas State, Texas, and Fresno State.
Right, of course. But next up, we're going to do our SuperDogs. And our SuperDogs are basically any team that has a 10-point spread. We're going to take the team that's the dog. Or more, obviously. So Dustin's SuperDog is the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Thank you. Who also beat Florida State. Thank you very much.
Yeah, again, powerhouse team right there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I like Georgia Tech a lot. They're 2-1. They have the 1 loss. It was on the road against a revamped Syracuse team who brought in a ton of new talent, new good coach.
Kyle McCord.
Yes, Kyle McCord is a fantastic quarterback. Mm-hmm. I'm sure we'll talk about him more throughout the year too, with continued performances in conference. But even in that game, they were down, I think, 2 touchdowns, 3 scores. Mm-hmm. And Haynes King can play football. I'm a big fan of Haynes King. He went to A&M. He transferred there afterwards. Right. Got passed up in the depth chart, is what it is. But he looks really good. On the other side, Louisville looks pretty good. And their quarterback who came in, I never pronounced the name right. I think it's Schuff.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. He looks good too. He was expected to be. But I do think Georgia Tech will be able to handle Louisville. And I'm just not sold on Louisville yet.
And I don't think you should be. I don't think you should be sold on any ACC teams, obviously.
Right.
One thing about this game that I think is interesting is that Georgia Tech has 2 extra games under their belt.
Yep.
Playing week 0, and then obviously Louisville already having a bye. This whole weird bye thing and everything is super odd. And then they get to play each other. I just think Georgia Tech is ready at this point in the season. They've already had 4 games under their belt. They've watched film. They've been through it. They've gone to practice. Of course, Louisville's doing things like that too. But real games always teach you more about who you are and what you need to improve on and stuff. Yeah, I think that's very interesting. And of course, they have the duo of the Haynes duo at running back and quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that this matchup predictor down here is a little bit off. 27 or 21.7% is probably too low in my opinion. I think it'd be around 40.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not sure where that's coming from.
I think this should be a 5-point game, 4-point game. And at 10, you should hammer that, I believe.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion.
I completely agree. They don't have anyone they have a couple tight ends out, but Haynes King's still playing. Running backs are fine. Yep. I'm not sure why it's that big of a matchup predictor difference, but
because everybody thinks that Florida State's not good all of a sudden. And so yeah. But I just mean they're also pulling down. That's pulling down this whole thing. Because at the beginning, they became huge favorites in every game all of a sudden because they beat Florida State.
Right.
Florida State loses 3 games. It changes everybody's perspective. We need a bye. Florida State needs a bye. Not Louisville, Florida State, because we suck.
Yes. You need something.
We need a quarterback. We need a quarterback, man. And a coach. Shoot. Don't forget about that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
A tough one.
So, yeah, I'm with you. Georgia Tech plus 10.
Yes.
Solid number. Mine is a pair of non-ranked teams. I'm on the San Jose State side. San Jose State right now is a 14.5 dog. And I'm going to say that they can score points. Okay, like Air Force is always really good at defense.
Yep.
17 points, they still win the game. Both teams 3-0 this week. I think that it's inflated because Washington State beats Washington.
Right.
Washington is not Washington of old.
No.
Washington was 3-0. Washington State's 3-0 or 2-0, both of them.
Right.
Going into that game, that's not the Washington of old. And I think it's inflating this number. One guy that you have to watch in this game that is going to be awesome is Nick Nash. Nick Nash right now has the triple crown in all of NCAA football. He has 34 receptions, 485 yards, and 6 touchdowns. He is leading in every single category by himself.
Right.
6 touchdowns. There's no one else that has done it.
Right.
34. He's 4 ahead of Travis Hunter, who I believe is second. Let me make sure before I say that. Yes, Travis Hunter is second. And then he's 40 yards ahead of Tetaroa McMillan, who we talk about a lot on this podcast.
Yep.
And then he's a touchdown ahead of both Kyron Lacey and Travis Hunter. He's basically, all those guys that I named are guys that are going to go in the first 2-3 rounds of the draft. Right. I mean, Tetaroa and Travis Hunter are first top 10 guys. Mm-hmm. Nick Nash has been awesome. And that, of course, goes with Brown. Chalk, the fourth is, oh man, I need to look him up because I think he's the older guy. He transferred there from, why am I blanking? Let me see the career stats. He transferred from Grambling. Yeah, he was very good at Grambling production wise and also average wise. He is not doing that well right now because they only throw the ball at San Jose State. And Nick Nash has been.
Seeing Nick Nash's stats would tell you why they are focused on throwing the ball.
Yes. Now, Washington State's good. This quarterback / running back, what's his first name? Jake or something. I can't remember off the top of my head. John Mateer. He's from Texas. He's been really good for them. He's the reason they won last week. I think that this game is going to be an over on the 55.5 and plus 14.5, which it's not anymore. Wow. Crazy. It changed while I was sitting here. So plus 13.5. Nice. I'll still take it.
You started the segment on time.
I know. I guess good. So. Yeah, that's crazy. They will get the plus 13.5 in this game. So that is my SuperDog.
And we get the very, very, very rare experience of Pac-12 After Dark this week.
Yes.
One of the only 2 teams left in the Pac-12, but the 9 p.m. I expect craziness every time there's Pac-12 After Dark.
Yeah.
So
it should be.
I love the San Jose State pick.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. But yeah, and then for our next segment, we are going to talk about some of the, what did we call this? Sickos?
The Sickos.
Yeah, we're on the Sickos, man.
My fans on Reddit know about the Sickos in college football.
Yes, so Dustin's first game of the Sickos is on the board here. Yeah, I agree.
This is going to be a fun one to watch. If you don't have plans at 7 and you don't feel like having a good time, watch this game. It's going to be not good. So we've got, Colorado. Not sure there needs to be a lot said about that. You've had it given to you on every social media by now. So we all know Colorado and their antics. Then Baylor, they're not doing a whole lot. So I don't have high hopes for them this year. Baylor fans or friends of mine who are like Baylor are just really hoping DJ Kinney does leave Texas State and they can get him to go there.
He's not going there. He's going to the SEC. But Florida.
I was about to say, which one?
Florida. And why not, right?
For Billy Napier?
Yeah.
Is that a job you want to take over?
Yeah.
I if I'm Kenny, I don't
Florida State
want to go do that.
Is an option.
Yeah.
Because please get rid of Mike. I would love it if DJ Kinney went from Texas State to Florida State. That would be so cool.
You should be very happy.
That would be so cool. No, I completely agree. This game is going to be terrible.
It's a 1-point spread, which should already tell you.
The cool part about this game, though, is that everybody's going to want to watch it. And then they're going to be disappointed.
Exactly.
I can't wait for that. I can't wait for everybody being like, oh, can't wait to watch Colorado at 7:00 tonight. And then being like, why did I watch that game?
Oh, yeah.
That was an awful game. And it's big time televised.
It is going to be awesome. The game opened at a 54.5 total with Colorado winning by 1. It's going to be horrid and it's going to be amazing. Please watch it.
I mean, look at these scores. Like, of course, North Dakota State, powerhouse in the non, in the FCS.
FCS,
Yeah, not in FBS. Nebraska, we were completely right on.
Yep.
We were wrong about Colorado State. Apparently, they forgot how to play football. They got beat, obviously, by Texas 56-0, and then they lose to Colorado.
Yep.
No offense, but yeah. And then on the other side, Utah was a pretty boring game that I didn't want to watch. And then Air Force, okay, cool. Like, it's, yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, it's just not exciting. It's not exciting at all. And I completely agree that it is a sicko game of the week.
Yep.
The other sicko game of the week is.
I love your pick too.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be so much fun to watch a big time SEC football, man. Yeah, so Florida sucks. And Mississippi State also sucks. Losing to Arizona State, I talked them up earlier, so we're going to say that was a pass, and that was a good game. But then losing to Toledo by way too many points is
at home.
24 points, like
at home.
Yeah, you're embarrassing the SEC with this. This might be the worst two SEC teams playing each other.
I think it has to be, and that's including Vanderbilt, who just lost to Georgia State.
But they're 3-1. Yeah. So, yeah, no, this is terrible football. And we're going to see, I don't even know who to pick. Like, Florida's 5.5-point favorites, and I'm like, is that a good line? Like, it should be like 2.5 in my personal opinion. And I'm almost okay picking the dog because it sounds more fun.
Why not? I mean, yeah.
It's pretty gross. And, honestly, too, it's like Florida's going to have a quarterback battle. Mississippi State actually has a good quarterback in Chapin, and it's still not fun to watch. Their defense is god-awful.
Yep.
One of the worst defenses the SEC has seen in a while. A lot of transfers out, nothing really coming in, I guess.
What is that average? Like 44? Giving up 40, 43, 44 points a game?
Well, they played EKU, which was 7.
Oh, I did what you did earlier.
Yeah. So
of their last two, including Toledo,
35 basically. Yeah. So gross.
35.
I think this is going to be gross and
at 11 a.m. we get with the coffee.
Yeah,
you get to enjoy.
I hope they did they even put this on TV? Please tell me they did not put this on TV.
I think it's going to be the ESPN game.
ESPN. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I will not be watching.
This is going to be right after you have fun watching Lee Corso put on whatever headgear he's going to do.
You get to watch Mississippi
Florida and Mississippi State.
Perfect. All right. We're going to stop this. I'm going to get out of here. Look at all these L's. There's 7 L's on the screen right now. Oh, man. And this is from last year, too.
Yep. And one of those is Florida State.
Just wait until we beat them this year. We actually have a chance to beat Florida.
That is, people are calling that the sicko game of the year.
So the loser is the crown sicko.
Basically.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't see how that would.
There's a lot of people very excited.
If it's not Colorado.
The only thing we have to hope is Florida and Florida State do just well enough to neither fire their coach.
No, we're firing our coach. Please. Actually, both of these guys need to be gone. And we just talked about that. DJ Kinney's going to Florida State. So
there you go.
Amen. Let's write a good storybook ending, right? But let me stop sharing. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to let Dustin announce his hot take of the week.
My hot take of the week is Notre Dame is still making the playoffs. Yep.
Give me a reason.
I don't care that they just lost to Northern Illinois. Fluke games happen. Riley Leonard is a gamer, and I just don't trust their schedule. Their schedule is really bad. They came into the year with one of the easiest schedules in the country as far as for a top team. Their hardest game left is arguably Louisville or Georgia Tech. They do finish the season with USC. So I think they could get through basically this whole gauntlet, if you want to call it that, of their season. November 9th, they do have a huge game. They're going to be hosting Florida State. So there's that.
Great.
But I think they'll still do it. I think Riley Leonard, whatever injury or issue he had against Northern Illinois, I still think with their defense and the rest of that team, Jeremiah Love at running back is also really good, that they'll still make the playoff.
Wow. I don't disagree because of the schedule, like you said. They literally, the games that were, on their schedule that were supposed to be difficult, those teams have gotten worse, much, much worse, except for USC.
Yep.
And so all you have to do is, of course, win out and win one game against USC. If they're 10-2, they don't have a bowl game. Yeah, I mean they don't have a championship game for their conference because
Right.
they don't have a conference. They're in the independents.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that if they win and go 10-2, probably puts them right on the edge.
They were going to do the at-large thing anyways, and you just need to be in the top 12.
Yep. So that makes it very interesting. Actually, you have to be possibly in the top 11, but yes.
Well, right outside the top group of 5
Yeah.
team. Right,
Yeah.
right.
If you don't get a really high seeded non-powerhouse team,
Right.
basically. But yeah, so that's our recap. There we added a few different things, segments and stuff into this one because we wanted to talk about some guys and things that we've heard around the Twitter and Reddit spaces. Of course, the league is talking, or the NCAA is talking about a lot of these teams also. But yeah, there's certain teams you should not be excited about, and for some reason, the ESPN wants to shove it down your throats. Colorado, like just shove it on you. So we're gonna talk bad about them because they deserve to be talked bad about.
Truthfully, if you will.
Yeah, no, yeah,
we're just going to be honest and not do the whole
Sanders
family
is amazing
docu-series on ESPN.
Shiloh Sanders is great. They're gonna win 5 games this year.
Shiloh's out. He's done for the year. I think.
He's out. Yeah, they have a few players I like, but
I'm still excited to watch Travis Hunter.
Oh yeah.
All jokes aside.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm also excited to see whatever happens with Baylor this week because it's going to be fun.
I guess, whatever you say. But yeah, we appreciate y'all hanging out with us. If you got to this point in the video, please go like, comment, subscribe. Tell us, maybe if you have a favorite game of the week for this week or a sicko game of the week, or even for next week, you can add it to this. We'll talk about it because we want to talk about the games that y'all want to talk about more so than just the ones that we think are exciting.
Yeah. Games, players, stats.
Yeah.
Spread picks if you want to have fun with that.
Lots of prospects out there.
Yeah.
If you have some prospects that come from small schools that we haven't been really talking about, please tell us because I'd love to know about these prospects. Nick Nash, that is a name that you will not hear until they beat Washington State this week. And then you'll hear all about it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So we're getting on it early. And yeah, so just give us whatever y'all think and like give us some input onto what we can do better, of course. And we'll see y'all next time.
Thank you all very much. Take care.